I believe when you stop letting the past define you, you're able to rewrite your own future. This is day 2 training on how to love your body after abuse. I am so excited to be on here today with you guys because today is all about figuring out what is holding you back from showing up as yourself. What is holding you back from showing up as yourself? So yesterday we looked at the different events from our past to see where we're at from where we came from. And we worked on things like figuring out, where is the through line in our life that has led us to this moment, to be on this call with me, to be in this group, this community. Where have we come from? And like I was talking about in those events from the past, you don't just have to write down the things that are from abuse. There's a lot of other things in your life, and hopefully throughout thinking about it and writing it down and journaling yesterday, you saw a lot of good things you've gone through, and you are, coming on here today feeling like you know yourself a little bit better today. But I do understand that you might be coming on here feeling down. And you might be coming on here not loving yourself any more than you did yesterday. Because I know that looking at the past can paralyze us. From going from abuse, when you look at your past again, it can bring up some very, very hard things. And so I want you to honor where you're at today. And I want to thank you for still showing up and being here, no matter how you're feeling, and pushing through. Today, we're going to talk about a hard subject, but we're going to get through it because we have an amazing community and I am here for you. But I want to talk about what is holding you back. I know you might be sitting here listening to this live right now and thinking that you have no one on your side and that you can't get out of bed right now and that you can't go for your dreams, that you're too broken. And I want you to know that I know how that feels, to feel so broken inside and that things don't matter. It doesn't matter if I even show up to work today. Who's going to miss me? Who's going to miss me at school today? Some of us come from families where you don't even feel like you can show up for your family. No one's going to miss me if I don't, be there at the breakfast table. No one's going to miss me if I miss, a family outing. But I want you to know that there are people in your life that care about you. And I am one of those people that care about you. I know that there's a lot of us in this group, 50 women plus, they keep on joining. And so I want you to know that there are people in your life that really, really care about you. And so I'm here today to talk about what is holding you back, because we have to talk about some hard things in this challenge group. Yesterday, I wanted it to be about talking about the past and things you're grateful for and talking about who you are and all those kind of things. But today, I really want to focus on what is holding you back, because there's something clearly holding you back. Because the person I see in all of you guys is not who you're seeing right now, and that's the honest truth. And I know how that feels, because I know how some people, might be like, you look happy. You're at all the parties. You are in a great relationship. You have a great family background. Whatever else it is you've heard over your life, but you're like, no, I don't personally feel that way. And so by asking yourself the question and being completely honest with yourself, what's holding me back from being who I am? And sometimes we don't even know who we are. And so that is a really real, honest truth, is that we've become so numb inside that we don't know where we're at. We don't know who we are. And so that is okay for you to feel that and not be able to even answer this question right now. But I want you to go back tonight and tomorrow and, think about what is it that really, really is getting you stuck? Because ultimately, you're on this group because at some point you felt stuck. You felt stuck and not able to move because of how you feel about yourself and the lack of love that you have for yourself. And so I know with the daily routines, I'm asking you to write 5 things that you're grateful for about yourself. And I know right now you might just be writing random things and you might not be feeling that. And I know I told you guys to look in the mirror and get really excited about telling yourself things about yourself, that you hopefully are going to feel really soon. Not hopefully, I know you'll feel really soon if you take the action every single day and you actually show up for yourself and you start loving yourself and looking at yourself in the mirror and talking about yourself like you would talk to your best friend. I think of whenever I talk about myself in a way that it's really dull and everything, I'm like, I would never say this to my friend Julia. So picture a friend who you absolutely adore and love and whatever else. And just think about how you would tell them the stories or how beautiful they are. And just know that you need to show up for yourself just as much. I know that is so hard because like we're talking about right now, there's something that's holding you back. And what's exciting about that is that we're working on that now. And so that it's not gonna always hold you back. And I want you to know what it means to have gone through abuse. For me, what it means to have gone through abuse, it means that I'm actually stronger to conquer anything in life. And so a job that might be really hard for some people, that's a breeze for me because I've already gone through hard things in my life. A bad boss, that's fine. It's better than going through abuse, to be honest. So just know that you are so strong, okay, from going through your abuse. But I know that you might have heard our live yesterday and you're just she's talking a lot of woo-woo game about how you need to love yourself and all this stuff. And I know some of you guys, it really did help and I'm glad, but I know that it's okay. I want you to know that it's okay not to be okay in all this. And you're on this group for a reason. All of us, no matter what walk of life and where we're at in life right now, we all need to be able to love ourselves more. And it takes action and it takes repeated action. It's a little bit of the compound effect. I don't know if you guys have heard that before, but it's all about how you have to keep doing it. So you're not gonna just see the results, guys, unfortunately, in 5 days of writing 5 things you're grateful for about yourself. It's a lifelong habit, and I promise you guys in 21 days, it's gonna actually become a habit, and you're gonna be able to speak those words over yourself even easier. So just be encouraged in that and know that you are here for a reason and that you're so strong. But I wanna do our first activity. And the first activity is what is holding you back from being yourself. I'm gonna read off a list of words that are related to myself about what was holding me back. And then I'm gonna share a story. So what was holding me back was shame, guilt, blaming, not wanting to hurt the people that have already hurt me, being scared, not feeling that my story mattered, not feeling like anyone saw me, that they cared. All of those things and many, many more are things that were holding me back. And I want to just share a story that has to do with a lot of us who've gone through abuse. And it's a story of the fact that after abuse, you sometimes feel like it was your fault. I'm gonna get emotional because I've had so many of you guys come to me and share that you still feel like it was your fault. And after hearing your tremendous stories of conquering your abuse and getting past all that, is the fact that you are here today on this challenge group. This shows how strong you are. But my story just goes back to when I was 11 to 13 years old, going through my own abuse in the family. and not being able to tell anybody because I was like, they're not going to understand. And my abuser would be like, no one's going to believe you anyways, Leisha. Why would you tell anyone? And all of those stories that he had like in my head about not sharing, that it was normal, that, you know, this is what happens, and all that kind of stuff, like I actually started to believe. But when I started just like to look and ask questions and, you know, talk to different friends about like if they had ever experienced anything, you know, similar, I could never get the words out that it was actually sexual abuse, because honestly at the time I don't even think I knew what those words meant. But when I was just thinking about, you know, actually telling someone, I never could do it because I somehow believed my abuser that it was my fault. And I know so many of you guys on here to relate to that. But those beliefs that I had actually became reality, because when I had finally had someone, my story come out, and my mom came to me, and I remember like it was yesterday, that she sat me down and she said, Alicia, what has been going on? And when I actually told her what had been going on, she's like, I know. And we, you know, went, told some details and that kind of stuff. But at the very end, she looked me directly in the eye and said, Alicia, it takes two. And that is something that I know that so many of you guys have felt. I know that because I hear it every single day from my clients, that somehow someone has told you that it's your fault. And I'm here today to tell you that nothing that you wore that day, nothing that you did implied that you were wanting that, nothing that you did made it your fault. And so I want to get this message across to you guys because it's so extremely important. And I know this isn't like a happy conversation to talk about, and I'm going to get emotional on this live because I really want to take this time to just let you know again that it's not your fault. And you need to start believing that, and it takes time. But I want you to know that there's some things that can help you start realizing that it like wasn't your fault, and start owning who you are and start realizing how powerful you are from all of this. So I'm not gonna let you guys have the time right now to just write down the things from your past, but I want you guys to know that that's going to be in the journal prompts for tonight, is just to write out. So I hope you guys have a piece of paper so you're writing this down, because I want you guys to watch these lives. Like I don't want to just tell you guys about the journaling prompts to do and then you just don't watch the lives, because I know that's like easy way to get your homework done faster. No, I'm just kidding. But I want you guys to watch these lives. So I don't post the journal prompts, but I want you to know that is the first journal prompt. I want you to write down what is holding you back right now from being yourself. And all of those words can be exactly yours, or I'm sure you have some other ones, okay? So I want to talk about just like how the shame and guilt and not feeling like anyone needed to hear my story affected me, and I know that it's affected many other girls, is that I felt so lonely. And I know many of you guys are in these shoes where you're like, no one understands. No one can feel what I'm feeling right now, the pain and the shame that goes with abuse, and how you've abused yourself. And at some point, you know, you're like, well, like I'm choosing to abuse myself right now. And sometimes you can look at that and be like, I need to stop. But it's sometimes like you can't, because you're just in that feeling and you have people around you in your life that aren't supporting you and loving you and giving you that like push to just fight through it. And so it's so easy to feel lonely during this time. But I want to talk about something like, do you feel lonely or not seen? Because there are so many people right now who want to help. And I'm telling you this because we're in a group right now with 50 other women who've gone through similar things. And yes, they're on their own journey, but I know some girls in this group who would absolutely love to talk if you need to talk. because I've seen that in your guys' post where you guys reach out to each other and get to know each other and all of that. And so do you feel lonely or do you feel not seen? Because feeling lonely is an obvious reaction after abuse because you don't feel like you can share your story. But feeling not seen means that people don't understand who you are. So feeling not seen means that people don't see who you really are. And the reason for that is because we have a mask on. And so sometimes people want to see you. They want to know who you are. I want to know every single one of you, honestly, guys. I want to know who you are, what wakes you up in the morning, what your passions are, what your dreams are, all of that kind of stuff. But there are people who want to know who you are, but we have a mask on. And I had that mask on for 16 years. So I know all about how to put that makeup on and go to work and, look happy and go to the gym and post videos of me hiking and doing all that stuff. But at that time that I was posting it, that was a mask because I wasn't okay. I was hiking because, I wanted to look cute on top of Camelback Mountain here in Phoenix and take a photo. That's not the purpose of hiking. So putting up those barriers for people not only hurts yourself, but it also it makes people around you not be able to see who you truly are. And it takes so much time to take off that mask because we have put it up from abuse and we have put that shield up because when you're going through abuse, you put that shield up, and sometimes it's not always a terrible thing when you're going through abuse to put that shield up because you have to survive. You're in that fight or flight mode when you're in abuse. And sometimes fighting, I want you to know this, sometimes fighting is actually loving yourself, even if you can't have the words for it, enough to survive and live. Okay? So fighting might look different for everybody, but I want you to know that if you didn't run out of the room, or if you didn't push your abuser off of you, or if you didn't tell someone right away, you are still fighting, okay? You are still fighting. And I want to push this message across because I know so many of you guys on here are just thinking that I could have done something more. I could have done something more. But you felt all the feelings and you felt you couldn't be anybody but what your abuser said you were. And so you put on that mask, and it is so easy to put on that mask and keep that mask on because it got you through your abuse in a way, because it made you not feel the feelings of feeling like you were so hurt inside. I know that when I was going through abuse, I didn't even necessarily know how to define it, and I didn't really know what I was going through, so I would just numb myself. I knew it was wrong. But I would numb myself. I used, cutting and drinking and doing stuff with other guys and all that kind of stuff, and that was my mask. And so to the outside world and to even some of my friends who knew me back then thought that I was the confident, fun, athletic person who, was happy. And that was my mask back then. And it took me 16 years to get that mask off. And I want you to know that it doesn't need to take 16 years. And if it has already, I want you to know, the time is now to take this off. And it makes me so excited because I have some girls on here who are young. And I want you to know, you're never too young. And at the same time, you're never too old to take that mask off. It is the right time to take it off now and get to know who you really are. So the activities yesterday were awesome because you kind of got to see what led you to this live right now, and you got to see that it wasn't just only abuse that happened in your life, and you could kind of start seeing the through line of your life and why you're here. But today I just really felt called to just tell you guys that you have to take down the mask so that others can love you too. Because when you have that mask on, people don't know the real you, and they don't know who you are. And I know that it's so easy to keep it up after abuse because you're hurting, and it's easy to keep the mask on instead of actually feeling your feelings and actually going through the steps on how to recover and how to actually start getting to know who you really are, because sometimes you just don't even know who you are. And so I know sometimes, like, writing the 5 things you're grateful for about yourself, you're like, who am I? I know, writing the 5 things that make you you might have been really hard yesterday, because writing 5 things that describe who you are, you're like, Alicia, I don't even know one thing that makes me me. And so it's not an overnight process, guys. I want you to know that it's not an overnight process and it takes time. But I want you to reiterate that the time is now. You are on here for a reason. We linked up somehow for a reason. And I'm so grateful that you guys are on here. And like I said, I want you to take my belief in you right now if you can't believe in yourself and just run with it. Like, I believe in you. And there are other people in your life who want to do that for you as well. And I know some of you have shared that you feel so alone. And you need to know that there's people in your life that really care about you. Okay, so the first journaling prompt, just want to go over it again, is just what's holding you back. And once you write that down, and if anything has popped into your shoulder, I know when I had the opportunity to share this on a public platform, and even sharing it in front of people, I realized like this weight had dropped from my shoulders. I was like, I feel so relieved to be able to say this out loud. And so the power of saying these things out loud are so important. And so I want you guys, of course, to write this down in your journal and have some time for yourself, just one-on-one thinking about that. But then I want you to get up and say it out loud. Say whatever is holding you back out loud. And it's intimidating, and you don't have to say it in front of anybody right now. Just find a quiet room in your house, go outside, and just like say it out loud. And you can like raise your voice. And for me, it was the shame, like I wanted to share my story for a very long time and help women who've gone through abuse, but I was so scared of what people would say and if I would hurt people. And ultimately what I thought about was like the 2 people that had hurt me the most, like I didn't want to hurt them again. And so when I said that out loud, I was like, I'm scared to hurt the people that have hurt me the most. When I heard it out loud, I was like, okay, so if I'm scared of 2 people hurting 2 people, but I have the chance to help millions of girls, what am I doing? Like, I need to share my message. And so that is what helped me, was just sharing it out loud and talking out loud. So whatever you're feeling out loud, so say it's like feeling like you feel like shame over what happened. Just say, I feel shameful for what happened about my past. I feel guilty. I feel like it was my fault. All those words that are not easy to say about yourself, like say it and let it release it, and it's gone, okay? It's, obviously there's things you're gonna have to do a little bit more, but it's gone, okay? Just release it. Just release it. And it's not that easy all the time, and so it's not, and it might take you a few times just saying it out loud, but just know that I'm here if you wanna share anything, and know that you're enough. That's the next thing I want to talk about with you guys today. Is just know that you're enough. Wherever you're at right now, you are enough. You have air in your lungs. I know you probably have heard that. And if you're sitting there right now and being like, okay, I've heard this story again, just think about it. Just being able to do that is a blessing. And you're here right now for a reason. You didn't go through that past just to struggle. Like your life, like what is the point of just having a life that you're struggling and struggling and struggling? That is not what our life is meant to be. And so there's tools and resources out there to help you. I'm one of the resources, but I'm not the only resources. There's things like podcasts you can start listening to and just fill yourself up with words of encouragement and just looking at other people's lives and how they've gone through things and have survived. And just know that it takes time. Know that like tomorrow you're not just gonna like automatically feel amazing. Like I wish that upon you, and I know that like these messages are gonna encourage you, but know that it takes time. The thing is, you get to choose how people see you, and you get to choose that by saying that about yourself first. It's a hard reality when you realize that, like, you have to love yourself first before anyone can love you. And I know many of us are probably sitting here and not even, knowing what love is because of our past abuse and having people in our lives who tore us down. And, it even can come from having a family member that you've always wanted attention for and you never got it as a child. And so you're dying to get their attention. And for me, one of those things is always trying to, like, be as smart as my twin brother. He always was naturally smart, and I always wanted to just be smart like him. And I would try, I would study, but he would just, get those A's and I would get A minuses or B's, whatever it was. But I just couldn't reach up to his level. And I just felt like my parents always wanted me to be like that. And so, he went on to college, and they encouraged him to apply for Harvard and Yale and all those things. And they're like, you apply for anywhere that lets you in, kind of thing. So, like, craving that love from them and outside people is going to leave you empty, and it's going to leave you starving for love from people that don't necessarily deserve your time. Not saying that my family doesn't deserve my time, but what I'm trying to say is that it's just like, you need to love yourself first and figure out what love means to you first and start loving and showing up for yourself, because then you're able to show up for other people so much better. So our next activity is to write down the version of yourself that you want to be. So write down the version of yourself that you believe that you are. And this might be hard to do at first because, like I said, we're still figuring out ourselves, and we're all on different paths of figuring out who we are. And sometimes you can't think of anything positive about yourself. But I want you to just freely write everything about yourself. And then we're going to go back and cross some of those off, because some of those things aren't serving you. I know for me, when I used to write things down about myself and love and all that kind of stuff, I would look at it and I'd be like, man, that's just not true. I wrote things like, I need good grades to be loved. I need to be good at sports. I need to, like I said, be as smart as my twin. I need to be over my abuse. I need to not share my story because I'm stronger than that. I need to get over it. I need to forgive everybody in my past. And when I looked at those words and I just thought, I'm like, no, I don't need to have good grades. Guys, I never had good grades. And that's okay, because I'm good at other things. I'm really, really good at loving people. I love serving people. And, I don't just need to stop talking about my past. And someone asked this before, how do you even talk to family members who don't understand why you're still talking about your past? You get to own that conversation, and you get to own who you are and who you show up as. So when I rewrote those things about myself, I wrote things that I'm worthy of love. I love my humor, even if no one else does, it's fine. I love that I'm a runner and that I'm athletic and that and I love that I'm able to talk about my story and still feel the emotions. I will still cry hearing some stories and talking on this live like I did earlier, because it's okay to have emotions behind your past. Not to have emotions behind your past is putting up that mask again, because it wasn't easy what you went through. And there's going to be things in life that trigger you. And you're going to need to take a step back. Like I asked you to do, if you're on these lives, if you're seeing anything of the post, anything, take a step back, turn off the lives, take the time for yourself. because what you went through does matter. And it was very hard. But now you get to choose to take off the mask and become who you were meant to be, and that is not defeated. You are not defeated. You are actually so strong. And I can say that over you and over again, but you need to believe that about yourself. So I want you just tonight to just think about what is holding you back from being yourself. Is it not loving your body? Is it hating yourself because you didn't go to the gym today? Is it hating yourself because you had pizza for lunch? Is it hating yourself because some girl at work said your hair looks terrible today? Those are all outside things that do not pertain to you anymore. Because throughout this 5 days, I want you to know like how strong you are and work on yourself so much so that when those things come in, you look at your list, you listen to your recording on your phone and you're like, no, like my hair looks awesome. Yeah, I had pizza for lunch, who cares? Because you need to start being more confident about who you are and love who you are. So I hope this live made sense to you guys. And if you have any questions, as always, please let me know. And I'm gonna look on here and see if I can find any questions. So feel free to ask any questions right now. It can be about last night's live or this one. Isabel, I needed this. I'm so happy to hear that. Anna, I'm so happy that you guys are all on here. Does anyone have any questions? I know I tried to get off yesterday and then someone popped on a question, so I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. If not, have an amazing night and feel free to definitely ask me questions later. I want these next 4 days to be really interactive, so please ask any questions if you have any, and comment or anything else. And Isabel, yes, we will talk, definitely. So thank you guys so much for hopping on, and rewatch the recording if you're just hopping on. I hope you guys have an amazing night, and yes, have an amazing night and ask me any questions. I want to be there for you for the next 4 days and after that too.